Here is your updated and rewritten script. It is written in paragraph form, it removes the asterisk, every sentence ends with a period, no words are highlighted, and it expands the story with additional detail while keeping the original meaning, tone, and events intact and avoiding copyrighted phrasing. You are used to struggling, Alice. Nobody ever really looks at you. 2 years in minimum security will not kill you. We will pay you when you get out. My father slid the dossier across his desk with the same casual motion someone might use to order lunch, not like a man demanding his daughter sacrifice her freedom. The folder was thick, heavy with tax fraud records, embezzlement reports, and financial crime summaries. Every single crime inside it had been committed by my sister Beatrice. Beatrice sat on the sofa across the room, sobbing into a handkerchief with carefully practiced tears, while my mother rubbed her back and whispered reassurances. They needed someone to take the blame so Beatrice could still marry into the wealthy Sterling family next month. And that someone was me. I did not scream. I did not argue. I picked up the file and let my hands shake just enough to sell the illusion of defeat. I whispered that I needed 24 hours to think. My father nodded, satisfied. He believed he was looking at a frightened daughter. He did not realize he was staring at the person who was about to dismantle his entire life. Have you ever realized your family would set you on fire just to keep their favorite warm? Tell me I am not the only one who has lived this. I drove away from my parents' house with my hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. I did not go home. I pulled over 2 blocks away, turned off the engine, and sat there breathing, trying to understand why I had been chosen as the sacrifice. In my family, everything was transactional. For 26 years, I had been the spare part, the backup generator kept in the basement and ignored until disaster struck. While I lived in a freezing 400-square-foot studio apartment, eating instant noodles and studying for certifications under blankets to save on heating bills, Beatrice lived a life that did not make financial sense. I remembered scrolling through social media the previous winter and seeing her tagged at a 5-star wellness retreat in Bali. Company research trip, the caption claimed. I knew her boutique consulting firm had 0 clients, but my parents liked the photo anyway. My mother commented about how proud she was of her visionary daughter. They funded that trip. They funded the Audi she crashed months later. They funded the downtown loft she rented through a friend. Every ounce of their money went into keeping Beatrice inflated, terrified that if they stopped supporting her, she would collapse. To Arthur and Martha, I was just a data entry clerk. A quiet, unambitious disappointment earning $18 an hour. That was the version of me they preferred. It was safer for them not to know the truth. In reality, I am a senior forensic auditor at one of the most aggressive litigation firms in the state. My job is not entering numbers. My job is hunting them. I trace hidden assets in high-stakes divorces, corporate bankruptcies, and financial fraud cases. I find offshore accounts, shell corporations, and fake employees. I am a predator disguised as a harmless professional. My parents never knew because they never asked. Not once in 5 years did they ask what I actually did for a living. Sitting alone in my car that night, I realized their ignorance was not an accident. It was my advantage. As the rain tapped against my windshield, everything became clear. It was not hatred that shaped my role in the family. It was economics. To my parents, success was limited, like a pie with only so many slices. They believed that giving me support or attention would steal it from Beatrice. For her to shine, someone had to absorb the shadow. I was that shadow. I was the safety net they kept hidden, waiting for the moment their golden child finally failed. And that moment had arrived. Beatrice had lied, stolen, and defrauded the government. The star was falling, so they dragged me out of storage and demanded I burn in her place. They thought I was weak because I was quiet. They did not realize that while they were constructing a fragile illusion around my sister, I was learning exactly how to destroy systems like theirs. I started the car and drove to a 24-hour diner with a flickering neon sign buzzing like a dying insect. I stayed in the parking lot and pulled out my laptop. My hands still shook from the confrontation, but my mind was sharp. I needed facts. I tethered my laptop to my phone and logged into the consumer credit portal. I entered my information, answered the security questions, and hit enter. What appeared on the screen was not a credit report. It was a crime scene. My score was in the low 500s. 3 maxed-out credit cards totaled $45,000. There was a business loan in my name for Beatrice Consulting, a failed venture from years ago. The balance was $50,000 and in default. When I checked the recovery email tied to every account, it was my father's address. They had stolen my identity 5 years earlier while I was struggling to survive. They ruined my credit to fund her fantasies. The realization was devastating and liberating at the same time. I was not their daughter. I was a resource, a line of credit, something to exploit and discard. The shaking stopped. I did not cry. Instead, something inside me went cold and focused. I closed the laptop and went to work. I audited everything. I traced 5 years of transactions and uncovered a closed loop of greed. Investor money flowed into Beatrice's company and immediately out to luxury travel, cars, renovations, and my parents' personal expenses. The house renovations were paid for with stolen funds. They were not protecting her. They were profiting from her crimes. By sunrise, I knew the truth. Going to authorities immediately would not protect me. My name was everywhere. I needed leverage. The only asset they had left was their house, a historic colonial worth over $1 million. I formed an anonymous holding company and prepared a quitclaim deed. That night, I walked back into their house and played my role perfectly. I told them I would take the blame but warned that restitution would cost them the house unless they hid it. Desperate and afraid, my father signed. The notary stamped the papers. The trap closed. When they mocked me afterward, when my mother reminded me of my place, I showed them the recording. I explained that the house now belonged to me. They had 7 days to leave. 3 months later, I sat in the study they once ruled from. They were broke. My sister's wedding was cancelled. Their reputation was gone. They were right about one thing. Flowers need dirt. They just forgot that the dirt owns the ground.